lecture, we are going to discuss about interpolation for unequal class interval. So, what is the interpolation for? In a previous lecture we discussed about interpolation for equal class interval, but practically in our situation we unable to find out the data which has recorded for equal class intervals. So suppose if the data is given for unequal class interval, means x and y is a given, x and y equal fx is a given for unequal class interval, means x1, x2, x3 up to what? xn minus 1 and xn. This one is the f of, if we start from x0, this one is the what? F of x0, f of x1, f of x1, f of x2, f of x3, f of x3, f of xn minus 1 and f of x. So now there is no need, means this one have a equal difference, means x2 minus x1 equal to x1 minus x0 equal x3 minus x2. It's not necessary, means these data have unequal, maybe they equal, maybe unequal. So here we consider these data are for unequal class interval. So here, like there are different difference operator for the equal class interval. There is a one another difference operator known as a divided difference operator. This one is a defined for the unequal class interval. So what is the notation of this one is a notation for the divided difference. This one is a this one is a what? Notation for the divided difference. Divided difference operator. Divided difference operator. Difference operator. Operator. So this one is a definition of this one is a notation of a divided difference operator. Now how we define the divided difference? So divided difference, how we define the divided difference, basically here we write, if we write what? If we write del of a divided difference of a f of x0. F of x0. This one is a what? F of x1 minus f of x0 divided by what? x1 minus x0. x1 minus x0. So here we write what? Del f of x0. Here we write what? x1. This one is a notation, standard notation. This may be also write in this form. F of x0 and x1. So this one is a first order divided difference. Between what? Between x0 and x1. And what is the next value? Means if we try to find out, if we try to write here, not here, if we try to write in a tabular form, what is the first order divided difference del of fx or del y. Del y means a divided difference of y. This one is a what? This one is a, here we write, this one is a f of x1 minus f of x0 divided by what? Divided by x1 minus x0. And this one is what? The notation of this one is a notation of this one is a f of x0 x1. F of x0 x1. Now suppose we erase. Now erase this one. So this one is a first order divided difference between what? Between x0 and x1. So now next we define the divided difference between x1 and x2. Then what is the value? This becomes f of x2 minus f of x1 divided by what? x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1 equal to what? f of x1 x2. f of x1 x2. Similarly, what is the last one? Last one is the f of xn minus f of xn minus 1 divided by what? Divided by xn minus 1. This one equal f of xn minus 1. So this one is a what? This one is the first order divided difference. Just we write this one in the middle of these differences. So this one is a what? This one is a first order divided difference. Del y. This one is the first order divided difference. This one is the what? This one is the y equal fx. This one is the what? This one is the x. And this one is the what? First order divided difference. Now similarly, if we define the second order divided difference is a difference of these two. So, and second order divided difference, if we define second order divided difference, this one is like this one, del 2 y. This one is a notation. This one is a notation. This one is a notation of a second order divided difference. Now, what is the value of this one? So here, difference of these two, f of x1, x2 minus f of x0, x1 divided by what? Divided by x2 minus x0. x2 minus x0. Now, similarly we write a second order means between third term and second term. And this one is what is the notation of this one? Notation of this one is a f of x0, x1, x2. So this one is a notation of a second order divided difference. So this may be also right, means a difference between third and second. Third and second. So what is the divided difference? F of x2, x3 minus f of x1, x2 divided by what? Divided by x3 minus what? x3 minus x1. x3 minus x1. And what is the notation of this one? Notation of this one become what? F of x0, x1, x2 and x3. In a similar manner, we calculate be able to calculate the values of second order difference means here, here and so on. And if we try to define similarly third order difference, this one is the del 3 y. Third order difference, this one is the what? This one is the difference of these two means f of x1, x2, x3 minus f of x0, x1 and x2 divided by what? Divided by x3 minus x0. And what is the notation of this one? Notation of this one is the f of x0, x1, x2 and x3. This one is the notation. So this was the notation of a what? Notation of a third order divided difference. Now, so if we closely observe here, this one is a difference of two successive values of a function. Here x1 minus x0, but here what will happen? x2 minus x0 means a difference of in a first order divided difference is a x1 minus x0. In a second order difference, there is a difference between x2 minus x0. In a third order difference, x3 minus x0 means that there is a gap of one term. Difference of a gap of one term. This one is means a trick to how we remember the divided difference of a first order, second order, third order and so on. So in a first order, difference in a denominator x1 minus x0, and in a second order, difference of a first term is x2 minus x0. Second term is x3 minus x1. x4 minus x2 means difference between two values with a gap of one value. Similarly, For the third order, this one is x3 minus x0, then x4 minus x1, x5 minus x2. Difference with the gap of two terms. This one is a difference with the gap of a zero term, this one is the difference with the gap of a one term, this one is the difference with the gap of a two terms. So this one is a what? This one is a divided difference, and this table will be arranged this data in a tabular form. Tabular form means here we also write this one in a tabular form, means this one is a what? This one is a first table, this one is a second table, not second table, second column. This one is the first column, second column, this one is the third column. Similarly, this one is a fourth column, and this one is a what? This one is a fifth column. This one is a fifth column. So this table is called what? This table is called divided difference table. Divided difference table. Divided difference table. Divided difference table. So name of this table is what? Name of this table is a divided difference table. Now next we discuss about the properties of a divided difference operator. So okay, in a divided difference, so what is the property of a first property? Means divided difference is independent from the interchanging the arguments. So what is the meaning of this one? Means f of x0 x1 equal what? Equal f of x0 divided by x0 minus x1 plus f of x1 divided by x1 minus x0. Similarly, second order divided difference, f of x0 x1 x2, this one equal f of x0 divided by x0 minus x1 x0 minus x2 plus f of x1 divided by x1 minus x0 x1 minus x2 plus f of x2 divided by x2 minus x0 and x2 minus x1. So what will happen if we interchange x0 by the x1 and x1 by the x0? Means if we write x0 and x1, so here this become f of x1, this become x1 minus x0, this one become x1 minus x2. So this one become a second term and second term become first term. If we interchange the first and second variables. If we interchange second and third variable, the second term become third term and third term become second term. So in a similar manner, by mathematical induction, if we write f of x0, means this one equal to what? This one equal f of x1, x0 and x2 also. So in a similar manner, if we write f of x0, x1, x2 up to xn, then what will happen? This one equal f of x0 divided by x0 minus x1, x0 minus x2 up to x0 minus x plus what is the second term? Second term become f of x1 divided by x0 minus x1 minus x0, x1 minus x2 up to x1 minus xn. And last one is last term is f of xn divided by xn minus x0, xn minus x1 up to xn minus 1. So here what will happen if we interchange first and second variable, first and second argument, then the first term become a second term and second term become a first term. So what will happen? Here we write in place of x0 x1, then f of x1 f of x1. Here if we write in place of x0 x1, then x1 minus x0 x1 minus x2 x1 minus x1, and this one become what? This one become a second term. So what we conclude? If we interchange first and second, then in a right hand side, first term becomes second term and second term become first term. And if we change second and third term, then second term become third term and third term become second term. So, but we know that some of constants follow a associative law as well as commutative law. So right hand side, by interchanging the position, the right hand side does not alter, does not change. So this one prove what? This one prove divided difference does not alter, means does not change by interchanging the argument of a function. By means f of x0 x1 equal what? F of x1 x0. Now what is the second property of property 02 of divided difference? This one is also in form of a theorem. The nth divided difference of nth degree polynomial are constant. So how we prove this one? So we try to prove this one. How we prove this one? So suppose here we assume that this one is a polynomial of a degree n, y equal x to power n. Y equal x to power n is a what? Polynomial of a degree n. If this one is a polynomial of a degree n, for sake of simplicity here we assume that y equal x to power n. Maybe this one is a y equal a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube plus a4 x to power 4 up to an x to power n. You may consider a general polynomial of a degree n. But there is a lot of calculations. So here only we consider y equal x to power n. So y equal x to power n is a polynomial of a degree n. So what is the first order divided difference? What is the notation of a first order divided difference? Del f of x0 of x1, this one is also a notation, f of x0 x1. This one equal what? This one equal f of x1 minus f of x0 divided by what? Divided by x1 minus x0. So if y equal here, we write also fx equal y equal to x to power n. So what is the value of f of x1? F of x1 become x1 to power n minus x0 to power n divided by what? x1 minus x0. x1 minus x0. So if we simplify this one, using the means a formula of a to power n minus b to power n. This become what? This become x1 minus x0 into x1 n to power n minus 1 plus x0 x1 n minus 2 up to x0 to power n minus 1 divided by what? Divided by x1 minus x0. So this one cancel out. So what will happen? For what is the function? What is the degree of a function? This one is the nth degree polynomial. What is the first order divided difference? First order divided difference be a polynomial of a degree n minus 1. So this one is a polynomial of a degree n minus 1. So if we consider a polynomial of a degree n, first order divided difference become a polynomial of degree n minus 1. Now similarly, if we find a second order divided difference and we write this one f of x0 second order of a x1 x2, this one is a notation, and this one is also a notation f of x0 x1 x2. So what is the value for this one? Value for this one is we write here f of x0 x1 f of x1 x2 minus f of x0 x1 divided by what? Divided by x2 minus x0. x2 minus x0. This one is by the definition of a divided difference. Now, if f of x0 x1 is a what? x1 to power n minus 1, x0 to power x0 x1 to power n minus 2, x0 to power n minus 1 in a similar manner. If f of x0 x1 is this one, then what is the value of f of x1 x2? This one is the what? This one become x2 to power n minus 1, x to the power n minus 1 plus x1 x to the power n minus 2 up to x1 to power what? x1 to power n minus 1. This one is a value of a first order divided difference of x1 x2 minus second order first order divided difference of x0 minus what is the value for this one? Value for this one in a similar manner is a what? x0 to power n minus 1 plus x1 x0 to power n minus 2, and in a similar manner what is the last value? Last value become x0 x1 to power what? N minus 1. Now divided by what? Divided by x2 minus x0. x2 minus x0. Now we simplify this expression. What is the value? Value become what? Value become first term of first term from first bracket and first term from the second bracket. So what will happen here? This one become what? X to the power n minus 1 minus x0 to power n minus 1 divided by x2 minus x0. x2 minus x0. What is the second term? Become outside x to the power n minus 2 minus x0 to power n minus 2. So this one is a plus x1 become outside, inside x to the power n minus 2 minus x0 to power n minus 2 divided by what? Divided by x2 minus x0. In a similar manner, what is the last term? Last term cancel out, and before last term, what is the term? Term become what? This one is x1 to power n minus 1. So this become what? This become x2 minus x0. So if we simplify and using the formula for a to power n minus 1 minus b to power n minus 1, what is the value? Now what is the value? Value become what? Value become, if here we write, what is the value? Value become what? Value become, we write here, this become f of x0, x1, x2 equal what? This become x2 minus x0 outside, then this will cancel out, x2 minus x0, x2 minus x0 cancel out. Inside this become what? X to the power n minus 2 plus x0, x to the power n minus 3 up to x0 to power n minus 2. This one is up. Similarly here x1 and this will become x to the power n minus 3 and so on, and last term become what? 0, and this one is a x1 to power n minus 2. So what we conclude here, first order means a y equal fx equal what? X to power n. So this one is a polynomial of a degree n. First order divided difference become a polynomial of a degree n minus 1. Second order divided difference become a polynomial of a degree n minus 2. N minus 2. So what will happen for the nth order divided difference? Means a 0th order divided difference be a polynomial of a degree 1. First order divided difference be a polynomial of a degree n minus 1. Second order divided difference polynomial of a degree minus 2. So nth order divided difference become what? Polynomial of a degree n minus n. This means polynomial having a constant term. Polynomial with constant term. Meaning of this one is what? Polynomial with constant. Polynomial with only constant. So now what is the meaning of this one? Means nth divided difference equal to this one, n minus n, polynomial with only constant. This means nth order difference of a nth degree polynomial, nth divided difference of nth degree polynomial is what? Constant. So this one is a second property.